Out of the gates and ready to go. Welcome into this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. I am Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we got the latest news and rumors of your Seattle Seahawks as we're talking about Tyler Lockett and Geno Smith. And we'll also go over our roster bubble candidates and players that are on the verge of potentially making or missing the 53-man roster that made it a season ago. We will also give out our off-season grades with the off-season pretty much complete, if you will, with the free agent signings, the free agent losses, the draftees, the coaching staff, UDFAs, and all that. We're going to give out our final report card and put a stamp on this off-season coming up later on. We'll also do Q&A mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. As you guys file in, shout out your city. We'll shout you out as we are out of the gates and ready to go here on this lovely Wednesday afternoon. Jonesy here. Smitty is off today. He's got an off day, but no need to fear. Big Tex is here on the ones and twos. We'll bring him in and coming up in just a few moments. But shout out your city. We'll shout you out, show you some love as we get this show on the road today. Glad to have you here with us. Thanks for making us a part of your day here on the channel. Let us know where you guys are at. I got Ty Man the Buckeye in Ohio. I have not been to the great state of Ohio. I need to change that, Ty Man the Buckeye. Where do I need to go whenever I visit Ohio someday? Sosa's in Wilmington, North Carolina. Midnight Sun says go Hawks. Maddie's in Palm Springs, California. I got Tito outside of Nashville, Tennessee. I got EK in McAllen, Texas. Let's see. Got Christian in Virginia Beach. Also checking in. Got Donald in Slayton, Texas. And I got Midnight Sun in Juneau, Alaska. Who is your favorite new Seattle Seahawks player? As I bring in Big Tex now into the show today. And I think this is the perfect question to bring Big Tex in for as he fills in for Smitty today. As there is a player for Big Tex that's very near and close to his heart that is now a member of the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
Big Tex, tell me, how excited are you about having Byron Murphy a part of the Seahawks? And for folks that don't know Byron Murphy, as Tex gets his light on and all that, he'll be back on screen here in just a second. Tex, what are the Seahawks getting out of your new favorite Seahawk, Byron Murphy? What's he bringing to Seattle here?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, Tyler. I mean, he's bringing grit. He's bringing hard work. He's bringing size. He's bringing power. And he's bringing a hungry motor that you're going to see on Sundays. And people are they're going to become thankful for this draft pick. I know a lot of people wanted to go, more offensive guard in the first round.
Right.
Obviously, that was like a big thing in mock drafts.
Yeah.
But Byron Murphy's a dog. I watched him. He was the number 2 rated defensive tackle by PFF behind T'Vondre Sweat, who was also on my Texas Longhorns.
Right.
So I think Seahawks fans should be super excited. He's going to make a case for Defensive Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. I know that's a bold take,
right.
but he really could be that disruptive on the defensive line for the Seahawks.
Quandre Diggs is gone. He was a UT legend.
UT legend.
Michael Dixon, of course, is
legend.
on this team. And you bring Byron Murphy in.
Oh, yeah.
I think the recipe, we saw Earl Thomas was around for a long time.
He was good.
You got to have a Longhorn or two on the Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
That's just the trend of success.
It's just got to be on that.
All right, who is your favorite of a new Seahawks player? Donald says Murphy. Ezra says Murphy. Christian says Murphy. Let's see. I see the Auburn boys. I see Sam Howell. Ty Man, the Buckeyes telling me to come to Cleveland. Ray says Howell better than Geno, more experienced. I hate to break it to you, Sam Howell does not have more experience than Geno Smith. That's news to me. Who else? Who is some of your favorites of the new members of the Seattle Seahawks? Weigh in the chat. Let us know what you think. What is your confidence level in the Seahawks after the draft? I'm going to talk about this in grades, so I don't want to spoil too much here, but I want to hear from you guys. Scale it for me 1 through 10, where your confidence level ranks in this team right now that we have a pretty good idea what this group is going to look like when the 2024 season begins. Big Tex, I'll say this much. Again, I don't want to spoil too much for later.
Yep.
But I do feel like this is a better roster than last season.
Yeah.
It's a better coaching staff than last season.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good about the direction of this team going forward. How do you feel about the Seahawks right now?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd put it like a 7.5 or an 8. I think Mike Macdonald, obviously, there's some unknowns with being a first-year head coach in the NFL. He's never been a head coach before, but obviously people were getting tired of the direction with Pete Carroll. You needed to change things culturally, and I think with Mike Macdonald, you get that culture change and also more of like a defensive-minded person with him, which I think could be beneficial.
Well,
and I think he's going to be good.
One topic we've talked about this week is that Mike Macdonald, he's bringing some tough love, if you will.
Yeah.
He clearly likes his players.
Right.
But he's not afraid to be a bit of a hard ass, if you will. He told your guy, Byron Murphy, first thing when he showed up at rookie minicamp, he needs to get in better shape.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not to be mean or be a jackass. He's just being honest. He's just trying to challenge him a bit.
Get that cardio up.
Yeah. Get on that big text program, So, but I like that, actually.
Yeah.
Be a little brutally honest, if you will, to try to
tough
maximize your talent there. Exactly there.
Yeah. A
Confidence level of the team right now, I'm seeing 7, 8, 7. Ezra says 9. Midnight Sun says 7. Donald says 10. Sosa says 10. There on the confidence level. Reminder, we will do a mailbag. Make Big Tex's life easier and get your questions in now. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. $sign next to the chat box if you'd like to contribute. And if you send in a Super Chat, you will get priority in the mailbag. Your questions will get answered first before anyone else. And we'll do those coming up later on in the show. So go ahead and start getting your questions in. And let's see how many we can get on today's show and make sure that you get to be a part of it coming up later on. All right. So one of the things we love to do around here is get this chat pumping. I know that it's the off-season. Things are kind of quiet right now. Now the draft is over and free agency slowed down. But I want to treat the chat as if it's game day at Lumen Field right now. Spam S in the chat if you love your Seattle Seahawks. I want to see as many S's as we can over this next minute. And Big Tex is going to shout out everybody that's spamming S. Whoever puts the most S's in right now, you're going to be the early favorite to be today's MVP. So let's go ahead and get the S's going in the chat. I'll count you guys down, and let's see how many we can get over this next minute. Big Tex is going to shout everybody out. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. Sosa, Ezra, Sosa, Richard, Ezra, Sosa, Richard. Don't let us beat you. Sosa, Ezra, Richard. Quality over quantity. Sosa, Ezra, Richard, Sosa, EK. Quality, Ezra, Tito, Richard. Quality, EK. Tito, Sosa, Richard. Faster, go. Sosa, Tito, EK. Jeff Alexander. Quality over quantity.
Faster,
Tito,
pick up the
Richard,
pace, people.
Tito, Sosa, Bat, Richard, Ryder, Trey, Tito, Upper Jackson, quality over quantity. Donald, Richardson, Tito, Upper Jack, Sosa, Richard. Richard's beating all of you right now. Richard and Upper Jack are in the lead. EK, quality, Richard, Upper, EK,
Halfway
Tito,
home. Keep
DJ.
going. Keep going.
DJ Dallas? No. Ezra, EK, Upper, Rickard, Sosa, EK, Upper again. Dude, Upper's winning right now. Tito. I don't know. Tito's catching up. Sosa, EK, Richard, Upper, EK, Tito,
10
Richard,
seconds to go.
Tyler,
Finish strong.
Upper. I see you, Tyler. Richard,
Great
Sosa.
name.
Great name. Richard. All right, get out of here. Bat, Tyler, Sosa, Upper, Bat, Tito, Tyler.
Very
Bat.
good.
Oh.
Good stuff. I think Bat or Tito, maybe Sosa. It was all pretty close. Good job, chat. Good job. Good stuff there. I got 74 people watching. I'm at 23 likes right now. I need to get to 30 to start today's show. 7 more likes, and I will open up this can of ice-cold Miller Lite and take a nice sip and kick off today's show on the right note. But I need you guys to like the video, do your part. I'm going to put it in the chat right now. And great way to help support the show, to support the work we're doing. A free way to contribute is by simply hitting that like button. We would appreciate it. Like the video. When we get to 30, we'll get this thing started here on this Wednesday afternoon. Glad to have you with us here on Seahawks Today. Smitty is out. Big Tex holding things down today. Show rolls on. We're going to have ourselves a good time today. here on Seahawks Today. And there's 30 likes so we can get this show on the road. The Super Chat menu. Here's what we're offering. Here is your opportunity to get some screen time on today's show. Any Super Chat gets you a beer cheers. $5 Super Chat, we'll sing the old Macdonald song. $10 Super Chat, we'll take down some shots. $20 Super Chat gets your name on the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. $50 Super Chat, we will do a beer bong, as you can see right here. And if we get to 200, go ahead, Tex. I do. Looks good. If we get to $200 collectively in Super Chats, then we will get sauced with the Seahawks sauce. We don't always bring the Seahawks sauce out, but when we do, we have to take advantage of it. Here it is in all its glory right here. The deal of the day. As you can see, because it's green, it kind of disappears on our green screen here. But if we get to $200 collectively, we'll get sauce with the Seahawks sauce. Let's see who's going to send in the first Super Chat of the day as we get this show on the road. Here is what's ahead here on this live edition of Seahawks Today. Latest news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks, talking Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett. Also, we're going to talk roster bubble candidates. Who is on the verge of potentially missing out on being on the Seahawks 53-man roster? I got 3 names we'll discuss. We'll give out our offseason grades for how the Seahawks fared when it came to free agency, the draft, UDFAs, the brand new coaching staff. We'll go over all of that. And we'll do a Q&A mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. So that is what's ahead. Without further ado, let's get this thing started. Let's begin with our news and rumors on your Seattle Seahawks. That's segment number 1 here on this live edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Big Tex, Tyler Jones here with you. Let's have ourselves a day and get started. Coming up on today's show, how hot is the hot seat for Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith heading into 2024 and beyond? We will discuss his future in just a matter of moments. Speaking of the future, Tyler Lockett, what does it look like for the Seahawks wide receiver beyond 2024? We'll discuss the contract situation. Oh, yes. False start, folks. False start. We'll try again. We had the wrong graphic below. You're not watching the NFL draft. The draft has passed us, but we will try one more time. False start. We'll run this back one more time from the beginning, folks. So let's get Donald Super Chat real quick, and then we'll start over. Sorry about that, folks. Let's get Donald Super Chat, and then we'll get going. Donald with the first Super Chat of the day. Much appreciated, Donald. Hashtag Seahawks, can we see a Legion of Boom 2.0 with Macdonald? Absolutely we could. I think that we will see that. The defense is going to be drastically improved, and they got the right man for the job to improve this defense in Mike Macdonald. I think you're going to like what you see. Donald, thanks for the Super Chat. I'll crack open this beer since we reached 30 likes, and now we will officially begin today's show after the false start on the offense there. All right, try again. Take number 2. Here we go, folks. Nope. Oh. Hold on, folks. Got some technical difficulties here. Stand by. Here we go. All right. Coming up on today's show, how hot is the hot seat for Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith entering 2024 and beyond? We'll discuss the future of the Seahawks quarterback coming up in just a matter of moments. Speaking of the future, how do things stack up for Tyler Lockett beyond 2024? We know he's not going anywhere this year, but is this the last go-round for Tyler Lockett? We'll discuss that coming up in just a bit. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for stopping by here on Seattle Seahawks Today. I want to know, just a quick survey of the 12s out there. Who is your favorite Hawks player of all time? No wrong answers here, but I'm just curious. Who is it? Who is your favorite Seahawk of all time? Could be somebody from 40 years ago. Could be somebody that's currently on the roster. I don't care. Let us know in the comments section. Spam that name as much as you can of your favorite Seahawk of all time. We'll get started here on Seahawks Today. Let's begin with a little hot seat check on Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith. Bleacher Report is reporting that the Seahawks QB is under some of the most pressure of any quarterback in the National Football League heading into 2024. New coaching staff coming in. You also have a young quarterback in Sam Howell waiting in the wings as well. And not to mention, you're coming off back-to-back seasons of 9 wins with this Seahawks team trying to get over the hump. So where does that leave Geno Smith into the equation? Here's more from Bleacher Report. Since Geno Smith took over as the Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback, he's played at a Pro Bowl level. However, the 33-year-old's best years as a pro may not safeguard his job security as the team goes through a transition under a new coaching staff led by Mike Macdonald. Though Smith earned his second Pro Bowl nod last season, his passing numbers dropped off from his 2022 showing. New play caller Ryan Grubb has a fresh pair of eyes on the offense. If Smith's numbers continue to trend in the wrong direction and the Seahawks offense sputters as it did in stretches last season, Howell could take over at some point during the upcoming campaign, and Seattle may be looking for a new starting quarterback in next year's draft. Now, it's no secret that Geno Smith is a stopgap quarterback, right? The day that he took over for Russell Wilson, nobody expected him to be the long-term solution for the Seattle Seahawks. In fact, we're very grateful for the job that Geno Smith has done the last few years. It allowed the Seahawks to move on from Russ as Russ exited his prime. Turned out to be very good timing for Seattle. And get a lot in return while paying Geno significantly less money than what Russ was making. So we're not ungrateful for the work that Geno Smith has done the last couple of seasons, but we know that eventually this is going to come to an end. And if you're the Seattle Seahawks, you have to think about what do you have in Sam Howell. The Seahawks need to know what they have in their backup quarterback. You look at the numbers from Geno Smith. We've seen the last 2 seasons. 2 Pro Bowl campaigns. Last year's numbers were significantly down from what they were in 2022. And you compare that to what Sam Howell did last year. Sam Howell, his season was up and down with Washington. The offense started out really good, but then he was benched before the end of the year for Jacoby Brissett. So, granted, it was a difficult situation there in Washington with just an awful offensive line. But if we get to a point where Geno is struggling, or if the Seahawks are out of contention, maybe there's an injury, John Schneider and Mike Macdonald are going to want to know, what do they have in Sam Howell? And so with that in mind, the pressure is on Geno Smith to play at a high level this year to not only keep his job, but also to put him in position to potentially return in 2024 and beyond. Let's ask you this question. Do you believe in Geno Smith? Is he the right guy? Is he the answer for what the Seahawks are looking for in 2024? If you believe in Geno, type B for believe. If you don't, type D for don't. Let us know in the comments section how you feel about the Seahawks QB. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. You choose 2 or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, maybe it's rebounds in basketball, maybe you're talking the likes of hockey with goals, maybe it's home runs in baseball, all sorts of different categories to choose from. And here's some NBA action for you. Something to look at. Chet Holmgren and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder. We're hitting the more on those guys. Donovan Mitchell to have more as well in his Prize Picks entry in those games, 1 through 4. You can see 1 through 4 on Chet and Shai. We put $20 down in this entry, and if all 3 hit, that's going to turn into $100 on Prize Picks. Play along with us. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Download Prize Picks today. You'll be glad you did. So here's the salary cap situation for the Seahawks in 2025. We already know that the Seahawks don't have a ton of money as is in 2024. But next year, it doesn't look much better for Seattle. Think about this, okay? Just $662,000 is all they have in cap space for next year with players that are signed for next year and beyond, right? Now, here is a possibility. Think about this. If the Seahawks release Geno Smith next offseason, that automatically saves them about $25 million against the cap. And what you may be saying to yourself is, why would you move on from Geno Smith next year? Why is next year potentially the right time to cut ties with the Seahawks veteran quarterback? And here's the answer, all right? Keeping Geno around next year is not worth doing something stupid like having to trade Devin Witherspoon just to be able to get some assets and free up cap space and all that. I don't want to trade Devin Witherspoon. It'd be idiotic if they did so, but that's the type of territory we're talking about. If you bring Geno Smith back and you don't free up that money at $25 million next year, you're going to have some hard decisions to make at that point. Geno's resume the last few seasons, his record as a starter includes going 17-15 from 2022 to 2023. Led the Seahawks to the playoffs in 2022. He set 4 Seahawks franchise records in that 2022 season. So if it's not Geno, what are your options for 2025? Geno is a possibility, but at what cost, right? Then there's Sam Howell, who has another year remaining on his contract after this year at a relatively cheap rate, a rookie contract that is. You could draft your quarterback of the future as well next year, and this quarterback class for 2025 isn't as good as 2024. It's headlined by the likes of Shedeur Sanders, Carson Beck, Quinn Ewers, just to name a few. And then there's the other possibility of signing or trading for a veteran quarterback as well. So we shall see. What do you think? Who is the quarterback you rather roll with in 2025? Is it Geno or is it Sam Howell? What do you guys think? Type G for Geno Smith, S for Sam Howell. Let us know in the comments section below. We are talking about your Seattle Seahawks each and every day on Seahawks Today. There's no offseason on this channel, I can promise you that much. As we're bringing you daily news and rumors, we're doing our live shows every Wednesday. And anytime the Seahawks have breaking news, whether it's a new player that comes in, maybe it's an injury, whatever it may be, we are going to break it down here on the channel. The latest happenings on your favorite team, we cover it each and every day on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free. Join the family. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV for the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else. Tyler Lockett. What is next for Tyler Lockett beyond this season? 12th Man Rising is predicting that this will be the last hoorah for Tyler Lockett in Seattle in the 2024 season. Here's more from Lee Vowell. Financially speaking, every player has an expiration date. This is especially true for an aging receiver who has an extremely high cap hit. Lockett might need to have a fantastic season in 2024 for Seattle to decide to keep him on the team past this upcoming season. Releasing Lockett next offseason would save the team $17 million. In fact, moving on from Lockett and Smith would save Seattle a combined $42 million. The hope is that he is great this coming season, and the Seahawks are fine with his $30 million cap hit. $30,895,000 to be exact in 2025. But the last part of that seems unlikely. A $30 million cap hit is huge for any player, especially a receiver who turns 33 years old in 2025. Look, here's the truth of the matter in all this, folks. Tyler Lockett, his numbers, what we have seen on the football field from him last year and the direction things are going, it's trending in the wrong direction. Tyler Lockett's still a very good player. We're not saying that at all. But we would be fooling ourselves lying to ourselves if we said that he was the same player that he was a few years ago. And the truth of the matter is this. At this rate, that ain't worth taking on $30 million in a cap hit next year. Maybe he's willing to restructure again and take less money or whatever it is. But I'm not paying Tyler Lockett $30 million in 2025. I can tell you that right now. You look at the statistics. Here's what we're talking about. The run ended for Tyler Lockett this year of his 4 straight seasons with over 1,000 yards, as he had 79 catches for 894 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. So then the question becomes, if not Tyler Lockett, then who? And for me, I believe the future is with JSN. He is where this team is going, right? When you build this Seahawks team, when you look at the direction they're going, we know DK is going to be around. I don't think he's getting traded anytime soon. JSN is the one with the highest ceiling going forward from here. And I look at this receiving core. You see these names here. DK, Tyler Lockett, JSN. To me, it's about building this offense around DK and JSN. It's not about Tyler Lockett. And the reality is, when it comes to Tyler Lockett right now, heading into this upcoming season, get ready to say your goodbyes. I mean, in all reality, folks, if you're debating, should I go to a Seahawk game this year? Should I make it out to Lumen Field, or try to find a way to see this team on the road? You absolutely should, because this is probably going to be, this season, your last chance to see Tyler Lockett in a Seahawks uniform. I don't know if he plays elsewhere in 2025 or if he straight up retires, but this is your chance to say your farewell to Tyler Lockett this upcoming season, because more than likely, he's not going to be back after this next year. It's been a great run for Tyler Lockett. First-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler in 2015. He has been just an amazing human being and a great ambassador for the city of Seattle. He'll be a Seahawk through and through. But the end is near for Tyler Lockett. I can tell you that much right now. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with my assessment that this is the end for Tyler Lockett in Seattle? I believe it is. What do you guys think? Is this the final season that we'll get to see Tyler Lockett with the Seattle Seahawks? Y for yes, N for no. I hate to see this come to an end, but folks, this feels like the farewell tour of sorts for Tyler Lockett with the Seattle Seahawks. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, N for no, if this is it for Tyler Lockett or not. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Always a pleasure anytime we get the chance to talk about your Seattle Seahawks. Subscribe to the channel, lock us in, never miss a moment. We'll be around talking about your Seattle Seahawks all off-season long. And if we get any more updates on the future of Geno Smith and Tyler Lockett, we're going to talk about it on the channel. YouTube.com/Seahawks TV for the latest happenings on your favorite team. We got you covered like no one else is. Subscribe now, and we will see you next time. All right. So that's one segment down, and we got 3 more to go. Do you believe in Geno? Is Geno the right answer for the Seattle Seahawks? B for believe, D for don't. Let us know what you think in the chat right now. Another super chat coming in. As this one comes from Maddie. Got to take out my nicotine pouch there. This one, Maddie writes, how would have been a top 3 drafted quarterback in this draft? With that being said, would you start him if he was really drafted top 3 or Geno? So this is what I said going into the draft, folks, was that Geno needed to be the starter and that the quarterback of the future, if you will, if they were going to draft a quarterback, would sit behind Geno and learn until they're ready to go, ready to take the torch, the mantle, if you will. And if you are viewing Sam Howell as like a draft pick, if you will, then I guess you could see that being the case. But the difference, though, he does have 2 years of experience. So I think Geno's the better quarterback than Sam Howell. I'm not so sold on Sam Howell as the long-term answer, but eventually the Seahawks have to know what they bought necessarily, what they paid for when it came to Sam Howell. So I would expect an answer on that at some point this year, that we'll see Sam Howell here at some point. The old Macdonald song for the $5 super chat from Maddie. Tex, do you know the old Macdonald song?
I do not.
All right, I'll sing it, and Tex will learn it, so the next super chat, Tex can join me. But here we go. This is for Maddie. Old MacDonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. There we go. And then another super chat coming in. This one's from EK, who is a first-time super chatter. We got to do the Seahawks chant. Tex, you do the C's, I'll do the Hawks.
I got you.
For EK. For EK!
C!
Hawks!
C!
Hawks!
C!
Hawks, let's go! Spam EK in the chat. EK, a first-time super chatter. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us. Thanks for supporting. And I'm glad we get you some screen time, get you on screen there. Let's show the super chat menu real quick. And then we'll get to our next segment. If you want to be like EK and send in a super chat, get some screen time, you can with our super chat menu. Any super chat gets you a beer cheers. Cheers. $5 super chat, we'll sing the old McDonald song. $10 super chat, we'll take some shots. $20 super chat, get your name added to the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. $50 super chat, you get a bear bong. And if we get to $200 collectively, then we will get sauced with the Seahawks sauce that you can see right here. We are at $8 right now, so got a ways to go to get there, but it can be done. I've seen some crazy stuff on this show before. Up next, roster bubble candidates. I got 3 players that are fighting for their football lives to stay on the Seahawks roster. We'll go over their names coming up in just a bit. Also, we got offseason grades to get to, and then later on we'll do a Q&A mailbag. Still need some more questions. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of today's show. Seeing some more questions come in. Great job. Seth says, where's Smitty? He's got the day off today. He is off. He has been busy doing NBA stuff and with the playoffs and all that, but he'll be back, I believe, next week. But Big Tex holding things down today, doing a great job. All right, let's get going here. Roster bubble candidates, segment 2 starts right now. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. I am merely Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We are going to talk about roster bubble candidates today. I got 3 players that are fighting for their football lives, hoping they don't get deported to the CFL or the UFL, whatever it may be, that they get to stay on the Seahawks roster when the season begins this September. We'll go over 3 players that have a lot to prove over the next couple of months here on today's show. Before we do, quick little fan survey for you. If you've been a Seahawks fan for 5 years or longer, go ahead and like today's video. If not, if you've been a fan for shorter than that, let us know how long you've been a fan of the Seahawks for. Just very curious. We welcome all the 12s here. Doesn't matter if you were born into it, maybe you're new to Seattle, whatever it may be. We welcome everybody here on the program. Like the video if you've been a fan for 5 years or longer. If not, comment and tell us how long you've been a fan of your Seattle Seahawks. Let's start off with Dwayne Eskridge, a.k.a. D. Eskridge, who is 27 years old and has a lot to prove, to say the least. It has been just a sad couple of years for D. Eskridge. The former Seahawks second-round pick has been a bust, right? He's been barely able to get on the field. He struggled to stay healthy. He had some legal issues he was dealing with. This has just been a mess when it comes to D. Eskridge. And the other part about it is it's such a waste of potential, right? Because the measurables, he looks the part of a guy that should be a decent receiver, right? We've seen him have his moments in these OTAs and training camps in the past, but it's just never worked out. And at this rate, I don't think it will. I think it's Jover at this point for D. Eskridge. I would be surprised if he ends up making the Seahawks 53-man roster. He's got to prove something over these next couple months. You look at the Seahawks depth chart. Jake Bobo had a breakout campaign last year, specifically in the preseason, what he was able to do. He's already passed up D. Eskridge on the depth chart. You bring in Chenault from the Carolina Panthers, and a lot of people are high on him, what he could potentially do. Not to mention already having DK and Tyler Lockett and JSN and all that. The one silver lining for D. Eskridge that could be his saving grace, if you will, this offseason is the fact that the kickoff rules have changed. And he is supposed to be a special teams ace, a specialist, if you will. And so there's an opportunity for him to show off that athleticism and the need when it comes to the special teams game as a kick returner or a punt returner. But that might not be enough. D. Eskridge has to evolve as a receiver. And it's put up or shut up time for D. Eskridge at this point in time. Look, I want to see D. Eskridge succeed. I would love to see him really just knock it out of the park over the next couple months and find a way to make this roster. But he's got to prove it. And right now, his back is against the wall at this point when it comes to being a member of the Seattle Seahawks in 2024 and beyond. So let's ask you, should the Seahawks cut D. Eskridge? Is it time to move on? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Weigh in on our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. We are talking about your Seattle Seahawks each and every day on Seahawks Today with daily news and rumors. We're doing our live shows once a week. And on top of that, folks, anytime the Seahawks make a move, like if one of these guys get cut here, you know we're going to break it down here on the channel. The latest happenings in your favorite team covered each and every day on Seahawks Today. We got a great team that helps bring this product for you each and every day. You see Smitty, Big Tex. Those guys are working hard, doing a great job. Glad to have them making this possible for you guys because you certainly deserve it. Subscribe now, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Let's talk about Stone Forsythe at the offensive tackle position. 26 years of age. And the thing I'll say that's different about him, comparably speaking to D. Eskridge, it's not a lack of effort, if you will. I feel like Stone puts his very best out there. He's trying, right? D. Eskridge, I do wonder if his heart's into it, if it's in the right place. That's not the concern with Stone here. It's the fact that there's guys that are better than him. Stone is putting the work in, but the truth of the matter is the Seahawks have better options at this point. Charles Cross and Abraham Lucas both, in theory, should be fully healthy entering 2024. I do have concerns about Abraham Lucas's knee holding up, but we'll see how things go there. George Fant you brought in to be your swing tackle. You drafted Mike Jarrell as well. We'll see if he ends up making the team. And then we've heard about some other guys. Some of those interior linemen have the possibility of potentially moving to one of those tackle positions as well. So all that being said, Stone Forsythe, he's had some moments, right? He's a pretty decent run blocker. 71.4 run block rate according to PFF last year. When the Seahawks were shorthanded on the offensive line, he came through for the Seahawks at different times in the past. So with that said, Stone, I like the guy, but this is a tough business. And sometimes you got to make business decisions. And for Stone Forsythe right now, we'll see if he makes the roster or not, but he's got his work cut out for him over these next couple of months, especially with the signing of George Fant there coming into the fold to be the primary backup for Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross. All right, now's your chance to be a little tough, be a little critical here. Who's on the chopping block? Name a player the Seahawks should cut, that they should say sayonara to and ultimately move on. Way in the comment section, give me a name that you believe will not be a member of the Seattle Seahawks when the season begins. One player that will be a member of the Seattle Seahawks is Byron Murphy. Certainly excited to have him in Seattle for the foreseeable future. I think he's going to be a star in the National Football League, folks. And now is the perfect time to get his jersey on sale now while supplies last. These things are going hot, folks. And we know he's going to wear the number 91. So you get the 91 jersey. We have the men's jerseys. We have the women's jerseys, all different varieties, whether it's the home uniform, the road uniform, and sizes for everybody. Go ahead and see for yourself. Get yours today. Chatsports.com/Murphy is the link to get yours. It's in the comments and description of today's video as well. That's chatsports.com/Murphy to get yours today. Last on this list, Myles Adams is also on the chopping block, if you will, for the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see if he ends up making it or not. But think about this. With the recent additions to the defensive line, the way the Seahawks have invested in this group. We mentioned the Byron Murphy pick, which was a big deal. You brought in Jonathan Hankins, in addition to bringing back Leonard Williams and all that. Jaron Reed's still there. You're paying Draymond Jones a lot of money. There just might not be a spot for Myles Adams at this point in time. You look at this defensive line, and I'll say this. This has become a position of strength. This was a position of weakness for Seattle not too long ago, right? Now they have options here. They got rotational pieces, guys that will all be in the mix. And Myles Adams right now finds himself third on the depth chart at this point in time. Undrafted back in 2020 out of Rice, 22 games played in 3 seasons, and not a ton to show for it. 27 tackles and 1 career sack, but it's not looking great for Myles Adams for his chances to make the Seahawks roster at this point in time. Let's ask you now, will the Seahawks ultimately cut Myles Adams when it's all said and done? Is he not going to make the 53-man roster? Type C for cut, K for keep. Let us know. Is Myles Adams going to be around in Seattle or not? Weigh in the comment section. Tell us what you think. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. If you enjoyed today's show, you've been a Seahawks fan for 5 years or longer, smash that like button. Give it a little tickle, if you will. And we will see you next time here on Seahawks Today. Tyler Jones, thanks for joining us. Have a great day. We'll see you next time here on the program. All right. 2 down, halfway home. As we'll get to offseason grades next, then we'll do our Q&A mailbag after that. Who is a player the Seahawks should cut? Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Keep it up there. Yeah, we'll get to that Super Chat here in just a second. There's the Super Chat menu, but let us know a player the Seahawks should cut. Any Super Chat equals a beer cheers. $5, the old Macdonald song. $10 for taking shots. $20, get your name added to the football. $50, get a beer bong. Thriller! Because it's a thriller. Oh, yeah. Thriller with a $20 Super Chat. Bang! Thriller says, Thriller's back. Shout out to Big Tex for holding it down for my dog, Smitty. Ty, what it do? Thank you for what you do. I'm ready to see our D-line terrorize. Let's go, Hawks. New name, Hall of Fame Thriller. Thriller will add you to the football as Hall of Fame Thriller, if that's what you want it to be. I love it. I appreciate it. Cheers. Salute to you, Thriller. And Big Tex getting some love. Feels good to be loved, doesn't it, Tex?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The producer always appreciates love.
Absolutely. All right. Up next, let's talk off-season grades. It's grade time. Tex, you were a good student, weren't you?
I was the best student.
You were a straight A student, right?
Oh, yeah. I got in trouble if I got a B.
Really?
Oh, my dad was very strict. Very, very strict.
Okay, so Big Tex, all he got was A's. Will the Seahawks this offseason, will they get the same joy of Big Tex and get all the A's? We will find out. Remember that movie, Easy A? Great movie. If you haven't, you need to watch Easy A. Great movie. A couple Super Chats coming in. We'll go to those real quick, and then we'll begin our next segment, off-season grades. We'll start with Ryder. Ryder with a $5 Super Chat says, appreciate you all, Hawks country. Let's ride. That's the old Macdonald song. We'll sing that here in just a second. Got another one. Queen Courtney Burgess. Hello, Queen Courtney. What's up? I'm coming over from Trace's channel, following my Auburn guys for the draft. Queen Courtney, welcome aboard. Glad to have you with us. There's no queen like Queen Courtney. Queen Courtney, welcome aboard. We're excited to have DJ James and Jeremiah Pritchett in Seattle I think they're both going to be very good football players, and we're certainly fortunate to have them here, and we're fortunate to have you here. So with that, let's sing the old Macdonald song. Tex, you ready to give it a shot now?
Yes.
With the super chats that came in, here we go. Old Macdonald had a farm, C-I-E-I Hawks. There we go. Much appreciated. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Ryder, for those super chats. Let's get to off-season grades now for Seattle. We'll do that as we're at $38 in super chats. If we get to 200, then we're doing the Seahawks sauce. Still got a ways to go, but it can be done. Off-season grades time. Also, we are doing, coming up later, a mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or super chat to get on. Yes, Tex. Yes. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. All right. Without further ado, grade time. Let's get after it here on Seahawks Today. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is grade check time. I'll be honest, I wasn't that great of a student. I wasn't bad, just kind of somewhere in between. But now the student becomes the teacher. I get to hand out grades for the entire offseason for your Seattle Seahawks. We'll talk everything from free agent signings, free agent losses, the draft, UDFAs. Oh, and the Seahawks have a brand new coaching staff as well. How did John Schneider and company do? We'll give grades out for every one of them coming up in just a moment. You want to be an A-plus Seahawks fan? There's only one way to do it. That's by subscribing to Seattle Seahawks Today. The latest happenings in your favorite team all season long. Daily news and rumors. Live shows every Wednesday. Watch parties during the season. Stay up to date on your favorite team. Join the family now. Help us reach our next milestone of 52.5 thousand subscribers. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV. Let's roll through these signings for the Seahawks. Here are the newest members of your Seattle Seahawks. Pharaoh Brown at the tight end position. Nick Harris at the center/fullback spot. Expected to be more of a backup center. Rayshawn Jenkins comes over from the Jags at the safety spot. He's expected to be a day one starter. George Fant at offensive tackle. The Seahawks are looking to use him as a swing tackle, the primary backup for Abraham Lucas and Charles Cross. Sam Howell was acquired via trade. He will back up Geno Smith, and all eyes will be on him to see exactly if he gets his chance to start for the Seahawks at some point this year. Terrell Dodson will be your green dot linebacker, the signal caller, leading the way there, and he'll be joined alongside Jerome Baker, replacing the likes of Jordan Brooks and Bobby Wagner at those two positions. Kayvon Wallace at the corner and safety spot. Sounds like he's more likely to be a safety for Seattle, but has the versatility to do both. The wide receiver position, Chenault comes over from the Panthers. He's expected to compete for the number 4 and 5 receiver roles for the Seahawks. Jonathan Hankins will be one of the primary rotational defensive linemen that come over from the Dallas Cowboys, where he played under new Seahawks defensive coordinator AD, so there's some familiarity there. And then Trey Antrim at the offensive tackle spot also comes aboard as well, and we'll see if he ends up making the roster or not. Here's the free agents that were retained by Seattle that got new deals and are sticking around. Noah Fant gets a multi-year deal. He is, without question, the Seahawks' number one tight end, not sharing that role with Will Dissly anymore. Leonard Williams got a massive extension. The Seahawks traded for him at the trade deadline last year, and now he's paid like the money that he deserves and was the best player on the Seahawks defense for the second half of last year. Mike Jackson at the corner spot. He is back. He's restructured his deal, taking a pay cut, likely to stick around. Darrell Taylor is back, and he's expected to be a rotational edge rusher as a pass rushing specialist. Brady Russell also back as well at the tight end position. We'll see for how long he is back. McClendon Curtis also back as well, as is John Radigan. He'll be competing for one of those linebacker spots. And then J.O. also is back at the outside linebacker position. Raekwon O'Neal, Miles Adams, and Artie Burns, also retained by Seattle as well. Here's the losses. Here's who the players that the Seahawks ended up losing in free agency. Bobby Wagner went on to the Washington Commanders. It sounded like that Mike Macdonald didn't really feel like Bobby was the right fit for what the Seahawks wanted to do defensively in his scheme. Jordan Brooks, same thing. He goes to the Miami Dolphins. A trade, if you will, with Jerome Baker coming over from Miami. Will Dissly, he's off to the LA Chargers. Meanwhile, Damian Lewis is off to Carolina. Colby Parkinson off to the LA Rams in a very big tight end room there. They got plenty of options there in Los Angeles. DJ Dallas is in Arizona now, staying within the division. Drew Lock will get the chance to compete for the starting job with the New York Giants there with Daniel Jones. Mario Edwards is in Houston now. And Evan Brown, after 1 year with Seattle, he is in Arizona. So all in all, how did the Seahawks do with what they lost and what they gained? I think it was a B. That's the grade I would give the Seahawks for how they managed free agency with what they were able to gain and what they lost here. I think it's a B. You don't have that splash signing, if you will. But even with all you lost, it doesn't feel like you hurt that bad necessarily. I can live with how the free agency period went. I give it a B. I think that's a fair grade for free agency for the Seahawks. I'll give my overall grade at the end of today's show, but want to hear from you guys. How would you grade the Seahawks offseason as a whole? A, B, C, D, or F? Way in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Now, let's go to the draft picks for the Seattle Seahawks. Byron Murphy in the first round at 16 overall, a great pick by Seattle. And then Christian Haynes, my personal favorite pick. Incredible value for him to be available at 81. We heard rumblings the Seahawks tried to trade up for him. Instead, he fell right in their laps. He's expected to compete for the starting right guard spot right away. Therese Knight, the linebacker from UTEP, led the nation in solo tackles. He's a bit of a project, if you will, but there's a lot of optimism. Certainly needs to improve when it comes to coverage. A.J. Bardner was selected a couple picks later out of the University of Michigan, more of a blocking tight end, while the Seahawks were very familiar with War Eagle now, as they drafted not one, but two corners from Auburn. Nehemiah Pritchett at 136. We'll get the other here in just a second. At 179, they selected Satua Leimea, the offensive tackle from Utah, and he might be playing some guard. We'll see. There's some flexibility potentially there. DJ James was the other corner selected out of Auburn, and by most statistics, he actually had a better season last year than Pritchett did. And then the Seahawks finished out the draft with Mike Jarrell, the offensive tackle from Findlay University, a Division II school. So how did the Seahawks do in the draft? My grade for the Seahawks draft, I go with an A. I know that they reached a bit on some of their later picks, but I view this as a weighted grade. You did so good with the first two picks that I can give the benefit of the doubt to John Schneider and company for reaching on some of the later picks. I'll go with an A for how they did with the draft. Who was your favorite Seattle Seahawks draft pick? Of the guys that we listed there, let us know in the comments section who your very favorite was for 2024. Today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose two or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points, maybe it's rebounds in basketball, maybe it's home runs in baseball, goals in hockey. All sorts of different categories to choose from. You can mix and match different leagues. Here's a look at the NBA playoffs, going with Donovan Mitchell to have more than 112.5 points in their first four playoff games against Boston. I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, to have more than 23 assists in the first four games against Dallas. And Chet Holmgren played his college ball at Gonzaga. I got him to have more than 37 rebounds in the first four games against the Dallas Mavericks. If we put $20 down, this hits, turns it to $100 on Prize Picks. Get $100 on your first deposit at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. All right, let's go to the UDFA signings now for the Seahawks. Sonny Anderson, the linebacker position from Grambling. Nelson Caesar, edge rusher from Houston. He's the guy that should have been drafted. Good value. I think he's got a shot to make the team. The one quarterback the Seahawks brought in, Chevin Cordero. He is QB3 at the moment, the Mountain West Conference Player of the Year last season. Garrett Greenfield, offensive tackle from South Dakota. Hayden Hatton, the wide receiver from Idaho, also included. George Holani, running back from Boise State. He's got the edge to be the number 4 running back to make the roster right now. Carlton Johnson, corner from Fresno. DeVere Levinston, defensive end from SMU. Kobe Lewis, running back from FAU. Mike Novinsky, center from the University of Kansas. I know I'm a Jayhawk, but I'm very optimistic about Mike Novinsky. I think he's got a chance to surprise some people. I would expect at the very least for him to be a practice squad player to watch out for. Ro Torrance, corner from Arizona State. Jack Westover, tight end from Washington. He's the second best receiving tight end on the Seahawks roster right now. I think he's got a shot to make the final roster when it's all said and done. D. Williams, wide receiver from Tennessee, also included on the list. Razin Williams, the second linebacker from Louisiana Tech. Turmeric Williams, running back from North Dakota State. And Easton Gibbs, linebacker from Wyoming. All in all, I think you're looking at realistically about 2 or 3, maybe 4 players that have a chance to make the 53-man roster. I'll give that a B+. I think it's a good class of undrafted free agents, but maybe not elite. There were some teams that did better in who they brought in UDFAs than the Seattle Seahawks did. I mean, I looked just down the road to the LA Rams, and they got my guy Drake Stoops. I would have loved to have Drake Stoops in Seattle. Why didn't they give him a call? So there was a couple players that I would have liked to see. You can't get everybody, obviously, but I'll go with a B+ there for the Seahawks for the UDFA grades. Who's a player that's a UDFA that you expect to make the Seahawks 53-man roster? Well, in the comment section, give me a name that comes to mind that you think has a shot to make it when the season begins. The brand new coaching staff for your Seattle Seahawks. Mike Macdonald is the new head coach coming over from the Baltimore Ravens, where he was defensive coordinator. His first hire was Leslie Frazier, the former Vikings head coach. He will be kind of the adult in the room, if you will, for Mike Macdonald to feed off of as the assistant head coach. Ryan Grubb is the Seahawks OC, coming over from the Washington Huskies, had the nation's best offense in all of college football, was in Tuscaloosa for about 2 weeks before he came back to Seattle to take over as OC. He brought Scott Huff with him as his offensive line coach. They hired Charles London to be the quarterback coach. He's been QB coach for a number of places in the NFL, Tennessee and Atlanta, just to name a few. Kennedy Polamalu, that name should sound familiar to you. Yes, he is related to the former Steelers legend Troy Polamalu, was most recently the running back coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, and he's worked with some great running backs over the years. Frisman Jackson will be the wide receivers coach, while Mac Brown, not that Mac Brown, but a different Mac Brown, will be the tight ends coach. Jake Peetz is the passing game coordinator, while AD, as he likes to be called, will be the defensive coordinator coming over from the Dallas Cowboys, although it'll be Mike Macdonald calling the shots on defense and running his scheme, not running what AD ran with Dan Quinn in Dallas. Jay Harbaugh, he leaves his dad, who obviously was Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan head coach, does not follow him to the LA Chargers, where he could have been special teams coordinator there. Instead, comes to Seattle to make a name for himself. He was the best special teams coordinator in all of college football last year. Devin Fitzsimmons will be a special teams assistant. Carl Scott stays on staff as the senior defensive assistant for Seattle. He's one of the few that was retained. Kirk Olivadotti comes over from the Green Bay Packers. They had an awful defense last year. I'm a little skeptical on that hire. Josh Bynes, played in the NFL not too long ago, under Mike Macdonald, might I add, comes over from the Baltimore Ravens. He'll be assistant linebackers coach. Jeff Howard, defensive backs coach. Nick Perry, defensive assistant, while Justin Haynes will be the defensive line coach. Rob Price will be a defensive intern. Yes, we're even mentioning the interns here, folks. Shout out to the interns. Pay your interns, people. Brendan Nugent will be assistant offensive line coach, while Quinshawn Odom will be an offensive assistant and offensive quality control coach. Chris Partridge, outside linebackers coach, and Tyson Prince, the Seahawks assistant wide receivers coach. So there you have it. That is the entire coaching staff for Seattle. There's a couple of hires that were questionable, but the good far outweighs the bad on this coaching staff. I thought Mike Macdonald and John Schneider did a terrific job for the most part. Ryan Grubb, Jay Harbaugh, AD, this is going to be a very well-coached team, and I think that they're going to get the most out of this Seahawks team, which was the big knock on Pete Carroll last year, was that team underachieved. That won't be the case this year. This coaching staff gets an A from me. Who was your favorite Seahawks coaching hire this cycle? Weigh in the comments section. Give us a name that comes to mind. My overall grade for the Seahawks, I'm going A- here. Knocked it out of the park with the coaching staff. Free agency was good, but not great. The draft was really good as well. Overall, I come away from this offseason feeling very optimistic. Much better about this Seahawks team right now than what they were in 2023. I'll go A-. How would you grade the Seahawks offseason? A, B, C, D, or F? Weigh in the comments section. Let us know what you think. Subscribe now to Seahawks Today for continuing offseason coverage here on the channel, youtube.com/Seahawks TV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. 3 down, 1 to go. Mailbag up next. Grade the Seahawks offseason A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know in the comments section below. All right. We got a $50 super chat. Bang! From Dan the Man Miller. The one and only Dan the Man. Could Cordero overtake Hal for number 2 and maybe take over as number 1 after Geno? Don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up, Dan. He was a UDFA for a reason. He's very raw. The kid is athletic, but I'm not getting my hopes up on him being that guy, potentially. We'll see. But, Dan, I owe you a beer bong. Everybody spam Dan in the chat. Let's pay off the beer bong accordingly and get this thing going. Here's the Super Chat menu if you want to be like Dan and contribute to the show. Any Super Chats of beer cheers. $5, do the old McDonald song. $10, we're taking down some shots. $20, get your name added to the Seahawks Today Football Hall of Fame. And $50, you get a beer bong. Everybody spam Dan in the chat. Dan the Man always comes through. No one delivers like Dan the Man. And somebody tried to come in here a couple weeks ago and claim to be Dan the Man. There is only one Dan the Man. That is Dan Miller, damn it. To Dan the Man, cheers, beer bong, let's go. Woo! All right. I'm fired up. Let's go. Let's go. That puts us at $88 now. We are 113 away from the Seahawks sauce, getting sauced with the Seahawks sauce. Much appreciated, Dan the Man. There's the Super Chat menu. Need some more questions for the mailbag as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag that we will do coming up here in just a few moments from right now. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be our final segment before we call it a day here on Seahawks Today. Big Tex had to run to the bathroom. I'm thinking we need to go shot clock. I'm thinking, well, Big Tex is gone. He should be back in about 2 minutes, I would think. In the next 2 minutes, every $5 Super Chat that comes in is going to be a shot for Big Tex. Make him go to the bathroom again. Every $5 Super Chat for the next 2 minutes will be shots for Big Tex as he runs to the bathroom. Mailbag coming up next. Every $5 Super Chat. How many shots can we make Big Tex take down? Dan says, Dan, yes. Sorry, I've been behind and checking my emails. Dan, I have not forgotten about you. I will take care of you. Don't worry. We will get you your prizes. Dan's got some rewards waiting on him. Don't worry, Dan. We got you covered. All right. I think we got a good amount of questions. Oh, you got to use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. No space. No space. Okay. Yeah, let's lead with Dan in the mailbag. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag portion of the show. Our final segment before we wrap up and call it a day. Seahawk fan, I see 8181. I see your question. We'll get that on the mailbag. Much appreciated. But we can always use more questions in the mailbag portion of the show as well. So stay tuned for that. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. We got you covered. EK, I said every $5 Super Chat that came in while Tex went to use the bathroom meant a shot. That's one for Big Tex. Here you go. That Patron, going to the Patron zone. Put yourself on screen, Tex. There we go. He's going straight from the bottle. Like a man. Here we go. From EK. Here it is. Big Tex taking shots.
Oh, yeah.
After his bathroom run.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Straight from the bottle. That's how it's done.
Oh. That's Patron.
How you feeling after that?
On fire.
With the Zins you've been packing, too.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
There we go, Big Tex. Nicely done. I'm showing double right now.
Oh, yeah, you are. Sorry. My apologies.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. We'll do the mailbag, and then we'll call it a day. We are at $93 right now. We need 107 to get to the Seahawks sauce, to get sauced with the Seahawks sauce, as you can see right here. Right now, though, let's get after it. Q&A mailbag time. Hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat. If you think of more questions as we're going through the mailbag, that'll work as well. All right. Without further ado, let's have at it. You're watching Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is mailbag time. You have questions, I have answers. And these come from the live show that we do every Wednesday where we react to the questions people send in real time. They use the hashtag Seahawks. They super chat. It's a lot of fun. And you may be saying, how can I participate in the next mailbag? Well, subscribe and join the Noti gang. Turn on your notifications. Hit that Noti bell. That way you never miss a moment when we publish a video, when we go live, all of that, it's in one place. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. You can join us for our next live mailbag here on the channel. Let's begin with Dan, the man, Miller, with a $50 super chat. Bang! Dan the man says, this question about the Seahawks, one of their newest UDFAs, that being Chevin Cordero. He says, Cordero overtake Howe for number 2 and maybe take over as number 1 after Geno. Don't think so. I'd be very surprised. He'd have to show something that no one else has seen because he was not drafted for a reason, right? Sometimes teams get it wrong. Right? Like we saw Brock Purdy as the very last pick of the draft a couple of years ago. Tony Romo was a UDFA. But it's very rare. These teams are right more than not when it comes to these UDFAs. I would be very surprised. Wish him nothing but the best. But I'm not getting my hopes up that he's this guy the Seahawks found to be this franchise quarterback, if you will, as far as that goes. But we've seen some crazy stuff before. Dan the man, thanks for that super chat. Donald with a $2 super chat writes in, can we see a Legion of Boom 2.0 with Mike Macdonald? I think you will, and let me explain. The Seahawks made things very clear with Mike Macdonald as their new head coach, the mission that was ahead for this team. Mike Macdonald said that he wanted to come in and he wanted to build a wall with this defense and make opposing offenses pay for it, right? They want to win so much that you get bored of winning. You'll never get bored of winning. They have made that very clear, that it starts with the defensive unit, that's going to be the bread and butter of this team, that it's going to be the defense that drives them. And I don't expect this to be a top 10 defense in year one with Mike Macdonald as the head coach of this team, but I think you're going to see drastic improvements. You're going to see investments over the next several years in this defensive group going forward. And the end result, when that day comes, you're going to like what you see, and I think that we're talking about a great legacy. The next chapter of Seahawks football being a very good one, led by this defense. Chris Johnson, who is a first-time Super Chatter. Chris, much appreciated. We do the Seahawks chant for our first-time Super Chatter. So Big Tex is going to turn on his mic, and we'll do this after we answer the question. How much playing time will Sam Howell have this year? It really comes down to what happens with Geno. If Geno struggles, Sam Howell will get a shot. If Geno gets hurt, Sam Howell will get a shot. If the Seahawks are out of playoff contention and they want to see what Sam Howell can do, then he will get a shot. But certain things have to happen for him to get that chance. So I would expect to see him at some point this year, but I don't know how much we see him. I think it's too early to tell just yet. But Chris, thanks for being a first-time Super Chatter. Tex, get the chant started.
Seahawks!
Seahawks! Seahawks! Let's go! Let's go, Chris. Spam Chris in the chat. Much appreciated. Thanks for sending that $10 Super Chat. Dan the Man, the $5 Super Chat. Could Haynes and the vet, I'm having a brain fart here, be on the field at the same time? In fact, they will be, actually. What I would expect the Seahawks offensive line depth chart to look like is that we see Christian Haynes as the starting right guard and Laken Tomlinson as the starting left guard and Anthony Bradford as the backup, the guy competing for playing time with those. That's what I think is the most likely scenario, Dan the Man, when it comes to this offensive line. I think it's going to be tremendously improved from what it was. I like Laken Tomlinson. Now, there is a chance that Laken Tomlinson looks old and maybe Anthony Bradford ends up taking that job at some point, but the most likely scenario is Tomlinson and Haynes holding things down. Simply Jack writes in, I know we didn't draft a safety. Any chance we could sign Justin Simmons? I would be surprised if the Seahawks signed Justin Simmons with the money that you're paying Julian Love, and you went out and signed Rayshon Jenkins, who I like a lot, coming over from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think you've kind of already spent your money. Not to mention you don't have much cap space at all right now to be paying free agents anyway. Justin Simmons is a good football player. It's not a knock on Justin Simmons at all, but it just doesn't really fit with the situation the Seahawks are in. If Simmons remains available and his price tag comes down and the Seahawks find some more money, maybe down the line that could be a possibility. But right now, I would be surprised. Should the Seahawks sign Justin Simmons? What do you guys think? Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in the comments section. Tell us what you think if Justin Simmons should be a Seahawk or not. Next one. What does the situation look like at guard? Any chance we could sign Connor Williams? So kind of like what we just talked about there, the guard situation. Tomlinson will likely start at left guard, and Haynes start at right guard. Connor Williams, he can be a guard. He can be a center. Most recently, he was a center with the Miami Dolphins. He was the highest graded center in the NFL, according to PFF, this past season. He's a very good football player, but his price tag is way out of the Seahawks market. One possibility I could see as far as Connor Williams goes, if he's still available, and if there's an injury, if Olu gets hurt or doesn't look very good, if one of these guys goes down, Connor Williams would be my first phone call to get here and get to Seattle and make an improvement. But right now, I think they're going to roll with what they got. I think you're going to like what you see out of Christian Haynes as well, but I don't think Connor Williams is coming to Seattle at this point in time. Should the Seahawks sign Connor Williams? What do you think? S for sign, P for pass. Weigh in the comment section. Let us know if you'd like to see Connor Williams in Seattle. Byron Murphy jerseys are on sale now. Chatsports.com/Murphy is where you can get them, as we have the home jerseys, the road jerseys, and more, men's jerseys, women's jerseys, all different shapes and sizes. Get yours now, chatsports.com/Murphy. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. He's going to wear the number 91. That'll be the jersey you get. Get yours today and be rocking with Byron Murphy. I'm excited to have him on board. Should be a lot of fun. Got time for about 2 more questions here. Seahawks fan 8181 writes, I don't know if this is true, but heard that Tua's brother went to our training camp. If he did, do you think he will get signed? So he went to rookie minicamp, and it didn't go great for him. The Seahawks, remember, they invited him. They didn't sign him as a UDFA, and he didn't get signed. In fact, he's at Cardinals rookie minicamp this weekend as a result of not getting signed by Seattle. So that ship has sailed, if you will. They won't be bringing him in. I mean, to put it simply, he's not that talented of a quarterback, if I'm going to be honest with you. He's not that guy. I'm not losing sleep over the Seahawks passing on Talia Tagovailoa. I think they'll be okay. Last question. Elona writes in, #Seahawks. Hopefully we have a great season in 2024. What do we do to win the division? We haven't won the division since 2020. Hopefully this season will be ours. I'm hoping so too. This division's going to be tough, though. It is going to be brutal. Damn brutal. Shout out Big Tex. Because the Niners aren't going anywhere. The Rams are going to be good again. I like what the Rams have done this offseason. Even with losing Aaron Donald, the Rams are still a good football team. The Cardinals are going to be improved. They had one of the best drafts of any team in the league. Seahawks got their work cut out for them when it comes to this division. Can they win it? Yes, but they're going to have to catch a few breaks. And a lot of stuff is going to have to go their way. But it's not impossible. Can it be done? Yes. Will it be done? I lean towards no right now. But maybe Mike Macdonald can prove me wrong. Certainly hope it happens. We'll see. Subscribe now to Seahawks Today. Never miss a moment. Appreciate you guys spending your day with us here on the channel. Subscribe now. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us here on Seahawks Today. All right. We are through all our segments. Let me pay off that $10 super chat from Chris with a shot. And then we got to do the old McDonald song for Dan, and then we'll get out of here. Chris, thanks for that super chat. We answered it earlier, but much appreciated. Here's the shot. Oh, thanks, my guy. Oh, that Patron. That's some strong stuff right there. Dan the man with that $5 super chat. We owe the old McDonald song one more time. Here we go. Old McDonald had a farm. C-I-E-I Hawks. All right. Great stuff. Guys, always a pleasure. Thanks for being here with us on Seahawks Today. I got to skedaddle. Got to get on out of here. But thanks for joining us here on the channel. Big Tex, great job holding things down today. Smitty, I believe, will be back next week. And we appreciate you guys being here. Subscribe now if you haven't already. Got more stuff coming on the channel throughout the rest of the week. For Big Tex, Smitty, our entire crew, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks so long. Have a great rest of your day.